All right, Running USA people, welcome back to another edition of Running People Sitting Still. We're joined this week by Charlotte Brookes. She's the National Event Director for the Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon. Charlotte, how are you doing?
Good. I like that I started wiggling when you said standing still. Can't help myself.
No, all right. I did the same thing, so it's fine. Because I can't sit still, and neither can you, so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We're good at this. Wow. So you're in Toronto. We can't go to Canada right now. How is the situation currently in Toronto, Charlotte?
It's gotten a lot better. So we're in our stage 3 of reopening, which just means you can go to a movie, apparently. I have not been inside a movie theater. Restaurants are open, patios are open. There haven't been any live events or anything like that, but you could technically, like, weddings are happening. You can have 100 people outside, socially distanced, and 50 people inside. So I've gone to a couple drive-in concerts. We have a new initiative the city started that was a drive-in TO, they're calling it. So I went to see a couple bands in my car. Super weird. Yeah. Instead of cheering, you honk.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's one of those things, right? Similar to virtual running and feeling a connection to things that are important to you. So I've gone to a couple concerts that way. And the city of Toronto, the mayor has actually, for the last 2 months, it's been really nice. He set something up called Active TO, and he's closing major roadways every Saturday and Sunday in the city of Toronto, so people can get out and space out and ride their bikes and run. And it actually happens to be on portions of our marathon route for the fall. So, and for our 10K, that would have been in June, our Lululemon 10K. So I've been getting out and running every weekend on the lakeshore on routes that I wouldn't normally be able to run on because I'd be working those races. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. A little silver lining there. You guys were planning for the Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon. It's now flipped to a virtual thing. How is the planning going now for 1031?
Good. So the virtual period is all of the month of October. So it goes from October 1st to October 31st. The in-person race would have been on the 18th of October, but we decided to give everyone a month to do stuff. And then we were able to get a little bit creative with what we could do in virtual that we can't do on a one day in-person race. So one thing we've been trying to get permitting for and get our city on board with was a 2-day event that had, a 10K and a 5K on the Saturday, and then the marathon on half just on the Sunday. But that's not something we've been able to get the city on board with for the last few years. We only have the marathon, half, and 5K all on one day on the Sunday traditionally. So in virtual, we added a 10K in there for people to be able to do. And we've been getting creative on some different challenges through it. So that's been fun.
So traditionally, you've had 3 events on one day in one city. Now you've got 4 events kind of linked together, but over the course of a month. And people can sign up for one of the 4. They can sign up for a combination of the 2 or a 4-person relay for the marathon. What's working the best so far?
Yeah, I think the new events, so new offerings, I think people are really excited about the things that they weren't able to do in person. So the one thing we came up with is called the whole shebang. So it means you can do the marathon, the half, the 10K, and the 5K. So that's been a lot more popular than we were expecting. We're having a lot of fun. We've figured out some really funny tube socks that say whole shebang on the back of them, and you flip your socks up and it has the distance or whatever that you're running, and you get all your medals and your shirt and all of those kind of traditional things. But yeah, we're definitely having fun with the whole shebang. There's been some Ricky Martin jokes about she bangs, but I don't think we're doing anything with that.
Put it on your Spotify, runners.
Yeah, exactly. On our PB and Jam Spotify playlist we have going. That's also been a COVID thing that we created.
Yeah. You've got runners, I'm sure, doing this from around Ontario and all through Canada, but you've also got people, I think, from around the world probably doing it, right?
Yeah, so that's been really surprising. I've talked to other race directors about that as well, of just some of our races that we put on through the Canada Running Series. that are very hyper local. We have a 3,500 person race in a park here in Toronto every April. It's called the Spring Runoff. We had people from Australia sign up, and Germany, and all over the world with an event that, again, they would never come and travel to. So that's been kind of interesting and fun. And the marathon's no different. That's always had an international component to it. And it's fun to see people from all over the world signing up, so they don't miss out on that kind of feel for this year.
Yeah. How are you going to get everything to them? Just shipments of packages?
Shipping, yeah. So again, we've been making some jokes about us being a fulfillment center through all this. But yeah, we've been finding some good companies to work with, US international shipping. I'm sure everyone can speak to challenges with shipping in general right now. The US Postal Service, of course, in the US, and the significant challenges there. Yeah, we've been finding some new partners that we never would have had before in an in-person world to get that stuff out. Yeah.
Meaning new, like, sponsors kind of thing?
No, just like different. We would never have done this research. We never would have found these different delivery. We're working with a group called Chit Chats. Like, I don't know. I had never heard of them before, but they do some great shipping through the US and international, and they're based out of Toronto.
That's cool. These shipping of all these things has a cost. What are you guys doing in terms of pricing passed through to the customer?
Yeah, so in the spring season, we priced things I would say it was very affordable. So our spring races were $35. It didn't matter what distance you did. We didn't add any shipping charges or anything to it. And again, we thought the numbers would be a lot less in that international. You know, when we thought of Spring Runoff, we're like, oh, we might get 5 people from the US. It's not something that appeals to people outside of our city and our neighborhoods. And then we started getting Australia, and you know, and the shipping costs ended up being $25 or more for some of these packages. So for the fall season, we adjusted. So for the marathon, we're charging $10 for any US shipping, and then $20 for any international on top of the registration fee. But for Canada, it's included.
How much is the marathon normally, just to run it in real life?
Yeah, so it's you know, $120 or so. So now it's $50 in virtual. So it's a lot more affordable.
Do you feel like splitting it about 50% has been where you've kind of?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah.
It depends again, like there's those margins where it gets really tight. We couldn't go under $35 for anything. So even if in-person 5K might be, you know, 50 or 45, it's still 35 when you factor in all the shirts, the medals, the shipping, and all of that.
Well, that's good to know, that 35, and you're talking Canadian dollars here, which is
like $2 American.
Come on, it's not good right now?
It's gotten better. But there's still, you know, 30% difference. So 30, 35.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still significant. Yeah.
Well, we can't even come use the loony and the toonie or anything until the borders. Yeah.
No, if any Americans sign up for our races, it is a steal. You're looking at like $25 for like 10K US. Yeah, with, you know, $10 Canadian is like $7 US. Yeah.
And the border's closed, like closed. Right?
You're not coming in. You cannot come to Canada. Yeah. Trudeau has firmly shut down the border. Yeah.
Build a wall.
Yeah. Oh gosh. None of
All
that.
right. Charlotte Brookes, you're the national event director for the Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon. We look forward to seeing it all come into action in October, 2 months away now. So good luck putting on the final bells and whistles.
Thank you so much.
And hey, we saw you at Running USA last year. I met you there, but I think you guys have been coming for a few years to that.
Yeah. Alan was the first non-American let into Running USA conference, as he calls it, the first alien. So Alan Brookes, who's the president of the Canada Running Series and also happens to be my father, was let in.
Yes, and this past year I had the pleasure of inducting him into the champions, which was cool. And I actually had not really spent much time chatting with him before this past year, but it was great. So I hope we get to do that again this coming February, and things open up and lighten up and we can get back to planning regular road races. But until we do, we're certainly learning a lot of the virtual world and the people who are helping to make it happen. And that's you, Charlotte. So good job. And thanks for sharing
Thank you,
this.
TK. Thank you. Thanks for having me on this.
Yeah. We'll
I'll
talk
stop
to you.
wiggling.
Yeah, well, yeah, that makes one of us.
Well, so on that note, I'm actually doing our whole shebang. I have never done a marathon before. And so I was like, what better time? So I have 8 weeks to train for a marathon. I'm a little nervous, but there's no time limit. So I'll get it done that day. I'm going to do it on October 18th, which would have been our race day.
Yeah. And you know, it's 26 miles, not kilometers, right?
I know. I have been told.
Well, you'll do great. You got to keep us posted.
I'm at 10 miles so far, so I have a little bit more to go.
Yeah, that's all right.
In my
You get
training.
there. Stick to a plan, trust the process,
Yeah.
and then pray like crazy and get it done.
Will do.
Charlotte Brookes, thank you very much.
Bye. Thanks, TK.